Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the MakeCode Arcade Advanced Stream. I'm Richard at Richard on the MakeCode Forum.
I'm Joey at JWander on the MakeCode Forum.
And today we are going to be continuing to work on our Hollow Knight inspired game. So if you haven't been joining us, Hollow Knight is one of the most attempted games on the forum, but people often give up on it. But it's totally doable in arcade. So we are making our own little Hollow Knight inspired game that's going to have a bunch of the standard mechanics that you've grown to know and love from Hollow Knight. Sarah's here now too. So, so far what we've done is we have our little character who's moving around. I actually measured the jump and movement values so that we end up with something that is fairly similar to what it is in Hollow Knight. And we also have a sword that we can slash in all four directions. And we've started doing enemies. So the enemies don't have health yet, but we can push them around a little bit. And we just have these bouncing guys so far. And we started working on these other guys, which were inspired by the Crawlid in Hollow Knight. So if you're not familiar with Hollow Knight enemies, or just with knowing their names, we have these little bug guys, and they basically act like red Koopas in Mario. Hi, Woof Woof, hi, random music. So they bounce back and forth, and they won't walk off platforms. So they get to the edge of the platform, and they'll turn around. Where we left off last time, we had put them into our game, but we weren't seeing our code run. And I realize now that the reason why was because we didn't actually run the code. But you can see now we have this guy who just walks over here to the right, this pink guy right here. I also went and before stream, in the 5 minutes before stream, I did some extremely minimal animations for all of our enemy types that we're planning on doing right now. So we're going to change these guys who are bouncing around to be these dudes, these big fat fly guys. And we're going to change our crawling guys to be these guys. So our thing to do today, hi Robbie Zero, is that we are going to first get these Crawlid guys working. And then once we have them working, we're going to add animations, and then we'll choose another enemy type to do after that. So without further ado, let's head on over to our crawler guy right here. And we look at the code we have so far. So we are creating a enemy. We are just creating them on top of this pink tile with that image. And we have two states. Well, one state right now, actually. Idle. And we have a Boolean moving left. And we have moving left set to false. That's why our guy is moving to the right. But things that we are lacking right now, we do not have gravity on this guy, obviously, and we don't have them turning around when they get to the edge of a platform. So that turning around is what we're going to do first. So we need to detect the two cases where we should turn around. So the two cases where we should turn around with this guy is when we get to the edge of a platform or when we hit a wall, right? So those are the two cases where we just want to flip our direction. And then we also want to give this guy gravity. We'll handle that in a second. Actually, you know what? That's super easy to do. So we're actually just going to create a platformer sprite instead of a regular sprite. So we're going to pull this guy out. Put that in there. Put that right there. Change this to kind enemy.
Then it'll just fall off.
Whoop. Oh, right. It's because I'm using the temp sprite variable. So we're going to go ahead and change this to be temp platformer sprite. And that's a little thing that I need to change about this extension is this should be returning a sprite type, not a platformer sprite type. Anyway.
I've never played Hollow Knight. What exactly is the goal? It's a Metroidvania type of situation, if you Metroid or Castlevania situation, where you jump around and you hit things and you get upgrades and then you unlock other areas on the map. Right now we're just on one screen, but I imagine if we keep going with this, we'll have to start delving into larger, more significant areas. And
yeah, that's going to be our next to-do list once we're done with enemies. Is we're going to do, like Joey mentioned, having more areas you can move between, so having rooms and stuff. Indoors and whatever.
But yeah, the main thing with Hollow Knight that people like is the tight combat. Really, it feels good to play. Also, just a warning: if you do decide to play it, because it is cheap and a lot of fun, play the first one, not the second. Not Silksong probably as a starter, because it's
Silksong. I think might be a better game than Hollow Knight, but it is way, way, way harder.
Mm-hmm.
So
like
definitely
and like difficulty as well.
Yeah, definitely start with Hollow Knight. All right. So we need to make this guy turn around when there is no longer any platform for them to fall on. By the way, you see we turned them into a thing, and they are a platformer sprite, and they are now moving slower than they were before. So why is that happening? That's because with the platformer sprites, there is friction that is automatically turned on for them. So we could fix this in a couple ways. So one is we could just turn off friction for these guys, which, yeah, that is what we're going to do. So we're just going to go ahead and grab this set friction enabled, change it to our temp platformer sprite, and set it to false. And now, there we go. Now we're moving at the full speed that we want to be moving at, which is 20 pixels per second. That's fine. All right. With that, let's go ahead and start doing our detecting of when we are off the platform. So we need to basically see when we have gotten to the edge. So if we are moving to the right, all we have to do is check the tile that is to the bottom right pixel of our sprite, right? So we want to check that, and then we want to go down one and see, is that a wall or not? If it's not a wall, we want to turn around. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and grab inside of scene, we're going to grab an is wall right here. And we're going to do inside of sprites, we're going to go ahead and grab a property block, and we're going to grab the right. And we're doing this instead of doing the column, like getting the tile map location of my sprite and then just going to the right, because the tile map location is based on the center of the sprite, and we actually want to be testing the right edge, right? So it's going to be easier if we just calculate it ourselves. Luckily, the calculation is very easy, so all we have to do is divide this by our tile size. So we're going to go into square root, grab integer divide, and our tile size is 8. So just going to go ahead and divide by 8. That's going to be our column. And then for our row, we are going to grab the bottom plus 1. And so we want to check, is that not a wall? So we're going to not this. So if that is not a wall, then we are going to set moving left to be true. And hopefully now we should see this guy turn around. There we go. So as soon as he got to the edge, bounced right off it. That's what we wanted. All right. Let's do the other one. So it's going to be exactly the same, except we're going to be flipping this. So we're going to change this right to left, and we're going to change this to false. And there we go. Okay, cool. So nice and easy. That handles the case where we are checking for the tile that is below us not being a wall. We also need to handle if the tile is a wall, right? Sorry, not the same tile, but the tile above, right? So this tile is a wall, or this tile is a wall, and we get to it, we want to bounce off it. So let's change our tile map so that we have another kind of test case for this guy. Head on over here. We're just going to make another platform real quick that looks like this, and stick this guy up there.
While we're in here, can we make a meme test case of just a little one spot for them so they have to bounce back and forth, or I guess not move, basically?
We can do that later. Okay, real quick, I forgot. The reason that this stopped working was I was using the temp platformer sprite in here, and I should be using these sprite variables. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix that. I don't think that's gonna cause any problems, but we can do that if you want, Joey.
I mean, it might. It probably won't cause problem. It probably won't cause
I don't think so. It'll be just fine. That's what you want, right?
Back and forth. Yeah. It should be.
Yeah.
It should be fine. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
He's having a good
time.
Does that count as cruel and unusual punishment?
No, he's excited.
He can move off if he wants to, you know.
Well, he can't move off.
He's choosing to turn around.
He has no choice. We have controlled his behavior.
Okay. So we're gonna go ahead right here and handle this guy. So you can see right now we hit the wall and then we stop. And so this is gonna be very, very similar. We're just gonna be grabbing this. We're going to take out the knot. And we are going to change this to be right +1 because we're not ever going to actually touch the wall, right? Because our physics engine won't let us. So we'll do right +1. And then instead of using the bottom, we will just use y, which is the center, and we don't need the +1. So we're checking right +1, integer divided by 8, and then sprite y, integer divided by 8. And you can see we turn around when we hit the wall right there. That's just what we want. So do the same thing up here, except we're just going to flip it all. So do left -1, leave the y the same, and set this to false. So this guy should be bouncing back and forth now. There we go. All right, cool. Nice and easy. So if you've ever wanted to do a Koopa or a Goomba that bounces off of stuff, this is how you do it. It's nice and simple when you use either the state transitions extension, which is what I'm using here, or you can use the inside of sprite utils, there's an on sprite update right here, which lets you keep everything nice and in one function. All right, I apologize for the device being connected and disconnected thing. My USB dock thingy is weird. All right.
I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm like, I haven't heard anything.
Oh, right. I didn't share the audio, so you guys can't hear it. Right.
Yes. I mean, that's exactly what every Hollow Knight sprite does, and they don't complain at all. I mean, you might not hear them complain, but they're bugs. So maybe that's messed up to say. I'm sorry.
All right. We're going to go ahead and animate these guys now. So I'm going to go to our, let's just start with this guy, because we're working on him. So because he is a platformer sprite, we can just use the platformer sprite box, which is great. So we can just go into here, do temp platformer sprite. Go ahead and choose the animation for this guy, which is this one. So this will be if we are facing right. And if we are facing left, we're going to do the left version. And there we go. Okay, wait. Interesting. All right, well, this is a bug on the platformer extension. I'm glad we're doing this because there is a reason that I have not pushed the platformer extension into the list yet. And that's because I still have to do a lot of debugging on it. And so this is a nice, good test case right here. Yep. But so
that's why we're bugging it up on stream so that we can debug it later.
Yeah, I think what's happening here is our sprite. I'm guessing that my turning left, facing left and facing right is based entirely on controller input.
Not like velocity. Yeah,
and that might be right for the player character. That is right for the player character. But if they don't have controls turned on, then it should be based on, the velocity.
The reason it's right for a player character, like if you're sliding down, well, we don't have slopes, but if you were sliding down a slope and it's icy, but you're trying to move upwards, you still want to be facing upwards. I guess that can still work if you have some velocity from friction or something like that.
Yeah. Or you get hit by an enemy, but you're facing to the left. You don't want to turn to the right and then turn back to the left or something. You want to keep facing the left and just get bounced backwards. Yeah. But this is good. Okay. So I will fix that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start a little note thing so that I can keep track of all of these things. because I know there was another bug that we had last time, which I forgot to write down. So this one is when controls not turned on, base facing on velocity. All right. And then the bug that we had last time, let's see. Well, there are two bugs I remember. One is when wall min velocity is 0, you can float in corners. I'm not going to demonstrate this one right now because it would involve changing our code too much, but if you can go to our old stream and see me do this. And let's see, I think there was one other, but I don't remember what it was.
One real quick question here is, if you hit the enemy, that's kind of the same situation as control. So do we have a way to implement that nicely for facing? Like if you were to hit the one that's moving right now, it bounces in the other direction, but they'll return to moving in the direction they were, right?
Yeah, they do.
So with that, if we base it off of velocity, they would turn around when you're hitting them and then turn back, right?
Yeah, I guess I don't know what to do to make that better. Do you have a suggestion?
Yeah. I was trying to think of it as something like you'd have to split it into like a
high copy sprite
base velocity and like a temporary velocity that goes down or something, I guess. I don't know.
That seems too complicated. We might just do a thing to lock the animation or something.
Yeah, that's probably better.
Yeah, might do that. All right, well, anyway, we're going to go ahead and keep this running doc. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hopefully by the time you're watching this, these bugs are actually fixed. I think I might actually spend the afternoon just working on this. All right. Well, good enough for now. For now, these guys are just going to look very silly. Let's go ahead and do these guys. So these guys we are not going to be using the platformer extension for because they don't have gravity. They're just going to be normal sprites. So right here is where they live. We are going to, let's see. So we are just using bounce on wall for these guys. So we're just going to use regular old character animations. So let's go ahead and grab those. Arcade character animations. So arcade character animations is 100% based off of velocity. All right. So we're going to go ahead and do loop frames. This guy. Tap sprite. We're going to loop my flying to the right frames. And we're just going to do this with facing right. And then we're going to do the left ones for facing left. Okay, so there you go. Now they've got little fluttering wings, and they bounce when they bounce around. So isn't that great? All right, now one thing that's going to be annoying here is so this breaks our animation for when they get hit. So we can fix that nice and easy. We're just going to go into here, and where we're doing this reset image that we're doing right now, we're going to actually go ahead and pull this out, and we're going to change this to be enable character animations true, like that. And now when we
real quick, sprite in there instead of my sprite, bro.
Yes. Thank you. And now inside of our on sprite of kind enemy overlaps thing right here, we're going to go ahead and set enable character animations false. And I'm pretty sure this won't actually harm the sprites that aren't using character animations. I'm sure it'll just be fine. So there we go. So now we should be able to, there we go. We got our nice flash animation that we wanted. And let's go ahead and test it on this guy over here. And yeah, so still broken for these guys. So we're going to go ahead and go into platformer. And oh, this is a good question. Is this going to... This might break things. Let's go ahead and put this in right here. And I think this is probably going to break it as soon as I hit this guy right here. Yep. So we get the unhandled exception. Arcade platformer APIs can only be used on platformer sprites. So here we go. We need to go into our little bug doc, and we're going to put in need an is platformer sprite block. So we need that for our overlaps things so that we can make sure that we don't accidentally use things that aren't allowed on our platformer sprites, on non-platformer sprites, I mean. Make sure I didn't actually put one of those in here. Nope. All right. Cool. Okay, there we go. Got some enemies now. So next things we can do are we can do pogoing, or we can give our enemies health and make them damage us. You know, making them damage us is probably what we should do first. So let's do that.
You do know my answer though, but I will.
Yeah, you want to do pogoing, I know. All right. So we're going to go ahead and add another overlap event. I'm just going to duplicate this one. Collapse. Pull this out. And we're going to change this to kind of player. So when player overlaps enemy, we want to knock us back and play a little animation. So we are also going to want to do some iframes. But for now, this will be fine. So with the platform extension, we can just go ahead and give ourselves some velocity, and that should work just fine. So we're going to give ourselves velocity that is in the direction away from this sprite. So go into sprite utils, we're going to grab angle from, and we're going to grab set velocity at angle. And we're going to do angle from our enemy to our player. And we're going to be setting the velocity of our player. And we're going to give it a speed of, I don't know, this is something we're just going to have to feel out. So I'm going to put 40. We were using 20 for the enemies, but we have friction on our player, so. All right, I need to like, we need to do the iframes because I can't tell how much this is actually pushing me because this guy just keeps pushing me, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a pretty good push right there, though. Like that was satisfying to watch him just nudge you off the corner.
It is,
especially
a nice
if you put spikes at the bottom. It's just like, oh, you forgot to pause. Boop.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and do iframes for our player. So let's see. Random user says, "Gasp! I want to make a coin pusher game now." Yeah, you should do that. That would be fun.
Yeah. You should. What's the name? Ratcoin. I think that's the name.
Oh, right. Is that that's your roguelike coin pusher you were telling me about?
Yeah, I think I should buy the full game. I think it came out, but
you were just playing the demo this whole time, or was it early access?
It was a demo that hadn't released yet. I think it was like Steam Next Fest or something. I don't remember. Yeah, Ratcoin. I mean, you'll have to look it up. It's a very funny game.
All right. So we're going to use this invincible in time property. And we're going to initialize it to 0 on our player. And now over here, we're going to go ahead and set this to be whatever our current time is. Go into game. And we'll just make it be, I don't know, 500 milliseconds. I'm just arbitrarily choosing that. No, let's make it really long right now so I can definitely see the effect. So we'll just do a full 2 seconds right now, which should be plenty of time for us to see what happens. And we need to check this inside of our overlap so that we don't get hurt again. And one thing I forgot about in Hollow Knight that actually super annoys me is that whenever you take damage in Hollow Knight, it does this like thing where the audio gets all quiet and then it gets like loud again. And like things slow down for a second.
Yeah.
I hate that. I've gotten used to it now that I've been playing it again for a while. But in Silksong, there's none of that, which is great. Sarah's having a lot of troubles today.
Mm.
All right. I'm going to get the data as number, invincible end time. We're going to say, is the invincible end time less than our time since start? Or rather, yeah, if it's less than the time since start, then that means we should take damage. So, all right, go over here, and we're going to get bumped by this guy. See what happens. Okay, we're moving like a pixel. If that. Set its speed 100. Yeah, that actually felt like a pretty good bump.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's that. I feel like that's pretty good. All right, let's change this to 500. Cool. Should maybe make that more like a second. I have no idea what it is in Hollow Knight. Actually, I know there's a badge in Hollow Knight or a charm to make it last longer also.
Mm-hmm.
A second feels about right, though, to me.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So we want to do a damage animation now. All right. So how we've been doing this up to this point for the damage animation is we have been doing we have a function, make damage animation, which basically clones our images and then makes a white version of it, and then we're playing it. All right. This is annoying to me, and we're not going to do it for the player because I do not want to be tracking the animation state of the player. Right, because I'm going to have to basically keep track of, are we in a damage animation right now? And should I be, like, are my animations going to be in a weird state because I'm in a damage animation or not? And it's going to, like, mess up all of our other animation code. So we're going to do this in a little bit different way that I don't think we've done on stream before. But basically, we're going to be creating kind of something like a shader. I'm going to toss some of these Post-its that we're not using anymore. Yeah, we'll toss this. What we're going to do is we're going to go into sprite utils. We're going to grab a render on Z index right here. What is the Z index of our player? It's a question. I think it's just the default right now, which is 0. We're going to go ahead and up that. We're going to make it like 10. And we're going to set this render to 11, like that. And inside here, we're going to put in this check, and we're going to flip it. So we're going to say if the invincible end time is greater than time since start, and change this to my sprite. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Okay. Now in here, what we're going to do is we're going to draw on top of our sprite. So this is rendering one above. So we're just going to be looping over the image of our sprite and filling in the pixels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, actually, I'm not. This is going to work. This will be interesting.
Are you gonna swap to an intermediate? Are you gonna swap to an intermediary color and swap all the pixel colors?
Let's see what happens. Okay. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to test to see if this is going to work or not. We're going to go into images. We're going to grab the draw onto image. We're going to draw onto our screen. And we're going to draw our my sprite image at 0, 0. So when we get hit, we should see the image of our sprite up there. And we're going to be doing this in, let's see, what is the, I want the my sprite image right here. Cool. Why is this angry all of a sudden? Oh, I see. I must have knocked this out accidentally. There we go. All right. So when I take damage, we're going to see our sprite image up there in the left corner. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. So what's happening here? Well, the platformer extension draws our sprite using an animation image, but the image underlying it actually stays the same, which is our hitbox, which is this right here. So right now, there is no way to get the animation frame and do what I want to do. So we're going to go ahead and add this to our list of things I need. Like that. But let's just go ahead and write the code as if that exists. So what I want to do here is I basically just want to loop over all of the sprites of our guy. So I'm pretty sure I already have index X and index Y. Yep, my good old friends. And we're going to do a couple of nested 4-index loops. So put index X here, put index Y here. And we are going to be looping over the width and height of our sprite. You know what? Let's just make a function for this. Draw image silhouette. This is going to take in an image. It's going to take in a left and a top and a color. What we're going to do in here is we are going to loop over our image, and we're going to check, is this a non-transparent pixel? And if it is, then we will set the pixel on the screen to this color. Otherwise, we won't do anything. So we're just drawing the image, but we're converting all of the pixels to a single color. Right. So go ahead and make this height right here. Going to put in an if, do a comparison and make it not equal 0. And inside here, we're going to go ahead and get color at our image right here, index X, index Y. So there we go. If our color at index X, index Y does not equal 0, then we're going to do screen set color at. And it's going to be left plus index X and top plus index Y. And we are going to set it to be whatever our color is. Now over here, we're going to pull this out. We're going to go ahead and call this function. So we're going to call draw image silhouette. We are going to just pass in our image, even though it's the wrong image. And for the color, we're going to pass in white, which is 1. And then for left and top, we're going to be getting the left and top of our sprite. But we don't have a camera right now, but we will eventually have a camera for bigger screens. So we're going to need to take our camera into account here. And we're going to go into scene. And we're going to grab this camera property block. And we're going to do my sprite left minus camera left, like that. And we're going to do my sprite top minus camera top. All right, and so with this, we should now see a white rectangle appear above our guy when we're taking damage. So there we go. Oh, it's appearing underneath our guy, which is interesting. I wonder what Z index the platformer extension is rendering to. Okay, it looks like it renders to the Z index of the sprite plus 1.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to go 1 above. It's interesting. All right, there you go. So the idea is that we'll use this to draw flashing. So let's make this rectangle flash. We have this invincible in time, and we're going to go ahead and figure out what the difference is between these two numbers. So let's go grab an absolute of. We're going to grab a minus block, put this in here, put this in here. We don't need the absolute of, but I already dragged it out. And we're going to do an integer divide on this by whatever we want our period of flashing to be. So I'm going to go into here and grab integer divide, and we're going to integer divide by, let's just say 100. So we're invincible for 500 milliseconds. This means we'll flash 5 times. And now what we're going to do is we want to flash only every other one of these. So we're going to put inside an if. We're going to say if this remainder of this divided by 2 is 0, then we're going to draw this. Okay, let's break down what we're doing here. So we're getting the amount of time left in our animation, right? We're doing an integer divide by 100. So say we are at 200 milliseconds left. This is going to take us down to 2. We are then doing remainder of that divided by 2, which is going to give us 1. And then we are doing the remainder of that. Well, the remainder of that is 0. So we are getting that equals 0. So we will draw in that case. Okay, I don't think what I just said made it any clearer at all. Basically, remainder of integer divided by 2 is a nice way to check if something is even or odd. And we are just checking to see if this number divided by 100 is even or odd.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can see we have this nice flashing that plays every 100 milliseconds. And like I said, it should be flashing 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, looks about right. Because we're running for a second. We're doing it every 100 milliseconds. So it's going to flip every 100 milliseconds. So it's going to be white for 5 iterations and not white for 5 iterations. And the reason we're doing this based off of the invincible in time and not just checking the time straight up is this makes it so that this is set based on whatever the time was when we got hit. So this make it so that we always immediately start flashing when we get hit, as opposed to just waiting until the next half a millisecond. It's very important in games to have the immediate feedback of I took damage. You know, you want that to be happening right when it happens. So
you would also just want to avoid the clunky, like, oh, the first frame is like 50 milliseconds and the following frame's 100 milliseconds. Then it would feel weird.
Yep. That is also true. Cool. Okay. So this is going to keep flashing us with this white rectangle for now, but once we get that new block, we'll go ahead and swap it out and have this be nice and fixed. All right, let's do Pogo. So we're getting our damage boost, but we're not actually keeping track of health on anyone yet. So we can hit our enemies and we can get hit ourselves, but the we don't actually get to see our these guys like die or anything just yet. But let's go ahead and do pogoing. So Let's remind ourselves about how our slash code works. So this is our on B button pressed. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. Now in here, we are checking which buttons are pressed or which direction we're facing. And based on that, we set a slash direction variable. So this slash direction variable is going to be indicating which direction we are currently doing our slash in. So the pogo mechanic in Hollow Knight is that when you are up in the air and you slash an enemy, you do a mini jump. I haven't actually measured how high you jump, but that's the idea, right? Oh, I missed a cat. Which cat was here, Sarah?
Minnie.
Minnie.
Yeah. She's
Feeling
been
better
wandering
now.
about. Yeah, feeling better now. We're all recovered from surgery.
Oh yeah, Minnie had a cone for a while, guys. It was very sad.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, and she can be held, but not for very long. She's like, okay, this is cool. And then it's like, okay, I'm done. Yeah. The first one. Random user.
All right. Another thing is something I just realized is right now we don't in Hollow Knight. There's actually recoil when you hit an enemy. You get bounced backwards, which we are not doing right now. So we should do that as well. But anyway, we have the slash direction. So we're using the Richard convention, which is 0 is up, 1 is right, 2 is down, 3 is left. And so we're going to be using that to determine if we should be doing a pogo or not. We're going to go into our enemy overlaps with a sword. Here we go. Sword overlaps enemy right here. And luckily, it looks like we are already checking our slash direction here. Right, we're doing this for the angle stuff. But you know what? I don't want to mess with this code. So I'm just going to put this down here at the bottom. And we're going to do another thing. Okay. So if we are slashing upwards, we don't want to do anything. For left and right, which is 1 and 3, we want to actually give ourselves a little bit of recoil. So we will do that. And then for slashing downwards, we want to do an actual jump. So let's start with the jump. This is what is affectionately termed pogoing for people who play a Hollow Knight. And we're going to go into our platformer extension. We're going to grab jump. And we are going to be putting in a number of pixels, which is going to be our jump height. So I don't remember what our normal jump height is, but I'm going to go ahead and just make we're going to make a variable for the pogo jump height. And I think we're just going to set it to whatever half our jump height is. So our jump height is 32. So we'll set this, you know what? 16 seems low. Well, let's see what it feels like. Set that to 16. Collapse. So we're going to go ahead and do a jump. And we're going to be jumping for that pogo jump height. All right. Let's try. So I'm going to go ahead and slash downwards. And okay. Does not seem like I'm jumping 16 pixels. It is like stopping me for a second.
Do we need to zero out the velocity first before the jump, or is that implied in the jump code?
I would assume it's implied, but perhaps it's not. Yeah, it's just killing my velocity. It's not actually making me do a jump. Interesting. All right, well, let's give it a shot. We're going to go ahead and set our VY to 0 and then do the jump. Oh, wait, I need to keep remembering to use keyboard controls when testing this because it's really hard otherwise. Okay. This is so annoying to test.
I mean, if you can make it up to that
No.
little guy up there,
It's
he's
still-
a good case.
Still zeroing us out. Yeah, let's actually change our tile map to make this easier to test. Right now, our enemies are a little bit too dense for me to do things without moving around and just getting hit a bunch. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all of these guys. There you go. We will keep one bouncer just bouncing around up here where he can be contained. And we're going to go ahead and make our pogo test right there. There you go. Yeah, so I'm just getting zeroed out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's because I have midair jumps turned off. So if I set midair jumps, in-air jumps to 2, what's going to happen? Nope. But I can double jump now. Triple jump, actually. All right, well, here. This is another bug. Good thing we're testing this stuff. All right. Something to look at. All right, well, I'm terribly sorry, Joey.
I'm heartbroken, but it's okay.
Let's go ahead and test our recoil now. So I'm going to go ahead and move this guy right here and then put another one right here. So right now we hit these guys and we stay solid as a rock, right? We're not moving anywhere. So we want to be pushed back somewhat. So we're going to go ahead and make a variable for this. We're going to call this variable sword recoil. And we're going to set this to the same thing we did for the enemy right now, which was 100. So let's do that. And in here, we're going to go ahead and set our VX. All right, so this is hitting to the right, so we want to set our VX negative. So we're going to go ahead and set this to negative our variable. Oh. We have this stuff outside of our if not damage state. This stuff should all be in there. Okay, this may have been causing some weirdness.
Oh.
But we'll move that in there and we'll test our pogoing again. I don't think that fixed it, but maybe it did. Okay, gonna go ahead and change this to sword recoil. And now over here, we're gonna go ahead and set this to positive sword recoil if we are slashing to the left. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and boop. There we go, we get booped back. Feels about right.
Nice.
And our pogoing still doesn't work, but
Oh, I guess it's time to.
yeah, still just getting zeroed out. That's okay.
Seeing the crawlid go farther makes me think that it looks like it's moonwalking.
Oh yeah, when it's going backwards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's just having a good time.
Yeah.
All right. All right, well, this is kind of what we set out to do today. So that's good. Let's talk about what we're going to do next. So I'm going to go ahead and try and fix as much of this stuff as I can before Monday's stream. I don't know how much time I'm going to have to work on this, but I'm going to give it my best shot. But next time we have a few different things we can kind of tackle. So One thing is we can do actual health, so make it so that enemies are no longer immortal and neither are we.
Oh, I mean, that's kind of messed up, but it's fair.
Yeah. Or we can do moving between rooms.
I feel like health is more interesting.
Is it? I feel like it's less interesting than moving between rooms.
We've done health a lot, but like moving between rooms is kind of core to the experience. I guess you already mentioned it earlier. So for cameras, there's going to be rooms that are like two screens tall, stuff like that, or is it just going to be?
Could be any size.
Okay.
Woof Woof says, "I agree with Richard. Take that, Sarah. Me and Woof Woof against the world."
I got. I've been duped.
So okay, we'll start with the moving between rooms. So basics of what we're going to be doing for moving between rooms are we need some ability to actually detect when we're at a load zone, and then we need to clean up all of our enemies and load the next room and load in all of those enemies. All right. So the other thing we have to do is in Hollow Knight, one of the kind of key mechanics is, let's just write this out. Load room considerations. There are basically two types of enemies in Hollow Knight. Well, I guess there's three. So there are enemies that respawn when you enter a room. Both of the enemies we've made so far, the bouncing guy and the crawler, these are both the types of enemies that respawn when you enter a room.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because they're just little guys. Enemy type number 2. Enemies that respawn when you rest. So, if you've played Hollow Knight, you know that there are a bunch of checkpoints that occur throughout the world. They are benches that you sit on. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of enemies that when you defeat them, they will stay defeated until you rest. I think it's actually rest, or if you like move between major zones, but we're just going to consider it rest for now. And then finally, we have enemies that permanently die. So these are enemies that you kill them once and they're gone forever. So that's like bosses or, some other special enemies, but that's the idea. Am I forgetting anything here, Joey? I think that's it.
I can't think of any situations that wouldn't be covered by those three.
So we're going to be taking a look at this. Now, other things that we might want to consider doing. So a very big thing in Metroidvanias and Hollow Knight specifically are shortcuts. So a lot of times you will be going through an area and say you have a really difficult platforming thing that you have to go through. At the end of it, there might be a switch that opens a door, and that is a nice little thing that means, oh, you would never have to do that platforming thing again because you have now opened a door that lets you go straight to it. Mm-hmm. So these are things, switches and the like that you set, and once they are done, they are permanently saved. All right. So we're going to take a look at that too. And by permanently saved, I mean we're going to actually permanently save them. We're going to actually put them into settings and make this a game that has some amount of save state. So, all right. And with that, I think we're done for today. So, everyone, remember we have a game jam going on right now. You can find more details about that on the forum. So that has a link to the game jam site with all the rules and everything. It's heist themed. So make a cool game where you steal some stuff. I'm very excited to play all of those games. You have until mid-November, so you have about a month left to work on that. Otherwise, I don't think we have any weird scheduling stuff next week. But then again, I didn't think we would have anything this week, and we didn't have a stream on Wednesday. So, just keep your eyes on the forum. I am Richard, Archer on the MakeCode forum.
I'm Joey at J1 on the MakeCode forum.
And I'm Sarah at Sarah on the MakeCode forum.
All right. And we will see you later. Bye, everybody.